Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Your Yes Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today we are going to be going over my newest build, the Spellfire Destroyer. Destroy everything. This is a Warlock Sorcerer build that, guess it, you guessed it, uses the Spellfire Sorcery subclass from the new Heroes of Forgotten Realms Faerun book. So we are going to be going over this today and a lot more, so stay tuned and don't go away. All right, before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like this video. Hit the like button if you have any questions or comments. Please leave a question or comment. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and don't forget to share this video. And also, before we begin, I just want to give a shout out to myself, of course, Dr. Urias E. Papers. Here are two of my adventures that I have written. They can be both found in Dungeon Masters Guild. Links are below, so check them out. They are there. All right, let's get into the build. So this build is based off of a few things that I wanted to integrate. This is strictly a damage dealing build. This is not a control build. So let me make that very clear. Damage dealing, not control. There are a few things in here that do provide some control, but for the most part, I wanted to maximize out the most damage that this guy could deal from a distance, and also the most damage that this particular build could do to groups of creatures themselves. So let's take a look at the first level of this. The first level of this is, we're going to start out with Sorcerer. This is going to be a human. Now, the reason that I am picking Spellfire Sorcerer, and here we have Sorcerer, and the reason that I am going with Spellfire Sorcery is I wanted to get access to some of these spells that are on this Spellfire list. I do like the fact that Guiding Bolt is on here, Scorching Ray is on here, Dispel Magic is a freebie, Wall of Fire, Flame Strike, those are all freebies on here. I do like this Absorb spell, Counter spell is always prepared. I love that. And we can get sorcery points every time we cast a counter spell. And I like this Spellfire Burst, but I particularly like the temporary hit points. Now, this is not part of the damage dealing, but it is something that is hard to pass up because it does dish out so many temporary hit points, especially when you hit this 14th level honed Spellfire ability, where you're dealing out temporary hit points equal to, it's 1d4 plus your charisma modifier, and then it jumps up to 1d4 plus your charisma modifier and your sorcerer level. And that really adds up a lot. So that is the reason I went with that. Now, the build itself, let me go back. I could have gone with Wild Magic Sorcery. Now, I like Wild Magic Sorcery because I do like this table. I do like the table a lot. There are a lot of good things in this table that can happen. The other thing that I like is we are from time to time going to be rolling to hit because we do have Warlock in us, which means we would like to have advantage. So we got Tides of Chaos. And then we would also have Bend Luck. So that is another option for this, but I chose the Spellfire Sorcerer. Now, for the core Sorcerer, and the reason I went with Sorcerer are a few reasons. Innate Sorcery, it's absolutely awesome. It increases all of my spell DCs by 1, and I have advantage on attack rolls with Sorcerer spells when I cast them, when I'm in Innate Sorcery. So I don't have to use, if I were a Wild Magic Sorcerer, then I wouldn't have to use that while I was in it. And then, of course, Font of Magic, where we're getting sorcery points. And all of the meta magic options, my favorite meta magic option out of all of this is Heightened Spell, because we can force things to have disadvantage on saving throws. So those are the bases, I guess you would say, for these. With Warlock, we're only going to be taking 3 levels of Warlock, and that is so that I can get a subclass for Warlock. And we're not going to be taking any of the ones that are here. We're going to be taking the old Hexblade. But with Warlock, we are going to be getting a couple of, we're going to be getting 3 invocations. We're going to be taking Repelling Blast, Agonizing Blast to make the most out of our Eldritch Blast that we can. And we are going to be taking Devil's Sight, of course. At some point, I will have the Darkness spell, so we will be using that. And then, because we have spell slots that come back after an hour, and we're going to get 3 because we have Magical Cunning, so we get 2, and then we can get another one. Because of that, we can take advantage of this particular part of the Sorcerer. This table here, converting spell slots to sorcery points, and this is kind of the way the coffee lock works. And so we can take our Warlock spell slots. We're going to have 3 levels of Warlock. So we can take those Warlock spell slots, which are level 2, and we can convert them over every hour to sorcery points, which we will get 6 every hour. And then if we're counterspelling some things, we'll get more than that. And we can actually create spell slots with sorcery points. So as a bonus action, you could transform unexpended sorcery points into 1 spell slot. The creating spell slot table shows the cost of creating a spell slot and of a given level, and it lists the minimum sorcerer level you must be to create a slot. So we can create up to 5th level slots. And those cost 7, and we'll be high enough level to be able to do that. So, all right, let's take a look at, this is the Sorcerer. He is 10th level, or I'm sorry, he's 20th level. He is Sorcerer 17, Warlock 3. At the end, we're going to look at this. We're going to look at it now. We're going to look at it in the end as we go through the PowerPoint on where we're going to start and where we're going to end. So at the end, we are going to have a charisma, which is what Warlocks and Sorcerers both use, of 22 for a +6. And there is a way to get above a 20, by the way. We are going to end up with a Constitution of 17. We've got a whopping 185 hit points. That's awesome. Our spell attack is a +15 or a +12, depending on what spell we're using. So it's +15 for Sorcerer spells, +12 for the Warlock. Our spell DC save is a 23 for Sorcerer and a 20 for Warlock. +12 is more than enough to hit just about anything in the game. And that will be our option when we are using a bonus action or a regular action to use our Eldritch Blast. Okay, let's get back into this right here. So at 1st level, we are a Sorcerer. And for the Sorcerer, we are taking Persuasion and Intimidation. We're Charisma based, so we might as well. We get Spellcasting and the Innate Sorcery, so we turn that on. We get advantage to hit rolls, and we get +1 to all the DCs for our Sorcerer saves. The background we're going to be taking is the Old Criminal Spy. We are going to be taking a +2 to Charisma, a +1 to Con, and then we're going to take Stealth and Deception. We're getting Dice and Thieves Tools. I like those. And we get 2 Origin Feats because we're human. We get 1 for being us, and we get 1 for being human. So obviously we're taking Lucky, and we're taking Toughness. That's where I'm getting that 185 hit points. We're taking the Point Buy, and we're putting enough in to get a 14 Dex, enough in to get a 14 Con, which bumps that to a 15. And then we want enough for a 15 Con, or 15 Charisma, which bumps that to a 17. And then a 10 in Intelligence and Wisdom. I don't really care about Strength. Kind of care about Intelligence and Wisdom a little bit, but it is what it is. We're taking the standard equipment. We end up with 43 gold pieces. We do have Thieves Tools. And the spells that we are taking, so at this level, we're +5 to hit with a DC 13 on our saving throws. We are starting out with Firebolt, Light, Message, Mind Sliver, because we can. That is a great spell. And then we're getting Mage Armor. But we're going to drop Mage Armor at some point, because once we get Hex Warrior, we get access to medium armor and shields, and we're taking Spellfire Flare because I like that spell a lot. All right, at 2nd level, we're taking another level of Sorcerer. We get 2 meta magic points because we get Font of Magic at this point, and we get 2 meta magics, which are going to be quickened and heightened. So we can quicken a spell. That means we can use a bonus action. And heighten means every saving throw, one target, you choose one target, every saving throw against that spell is done at an advantage, every single one. And then we're going to pick up Silvery Barbs. That is the spell we're going to pick up at 2nd level. At 3rd level, we're taking another level of Sorcerer. So we get our subclass, which is that Spellfire Sorcerer, and we get that Spellfire Burst. So we can either, when we cast a spell and we use a sorcery point with that spell, we can either give temporary hit points, 1d4 plus our charisma modifier. So on average right now, that's going to be about 5 temps. Or we can do a little bit of extra damage, which is a d4, which is not very much. And then we get Spellfire Spells, which I have highlighted in pink on this. We're still +5 to hit, DC 13. Our 1st level spells are up to 4 slots. We do get access to Cure Wounds and Guiding Bolt now. We also get 2nd level spells, so I am adding Cloud of Daggers, Tasha's Mind Whip, and Shatter. And then we get access automatically to Lesser Restoration and Scorching Ray. Unfortunately, the Sorcerer does not get access to Conjure Minor Elementals. That is a wizard spell, not a sorcerer spell, as if you're looking at the arcane casters. So that would be nice. And one day I may do a build that does that, but we are not getting that at this point. So we've got Scorching Ray automatically, and we will take it. All right, so at 4th level, we're taking 1 level of Warlock. We get Eldritch Invocations, which we get 1. We're getting Agonizing Blast. And then we got our Pact Magic. And so all of our Pact Magic spells are going to be in red. And so those are Eldritch Blast, Frostbite, Armor of Agathis, and Hex. Hex right now is okay. It is going to lose its luster later on because it is a concentration spell. And then we are at 1 1st level slot at this point. So at 5th level, we're going to take another level of Warlock because we are making our way to our subclass. So we get Magical Cunning, which means essentially once a day. Once every long rest, we can do some meditation and we can get a slot back for the Warlock, which is that going to be that 3rd slot. So at this point, we do have 2 Warlock slots. And then we get a couple more invocations. So we're taking, in addition to Agonizing Blast, which adds our charisma to our Eldritch Blast damage, we're taking Repelling Blast, pushing things back 20 feet, and Devil's Sight. We are taking Eldritch Blast, Firebolt, Frostbite. We've got all those. Basically, all the same spells are there. There's nothing new on this one. All right, at 6th level, we're taking our last level of Warlock, Warlock 3. You can see here at 5th level, from 4th level to 5th level, our proficiency bonus went up to +3. And here, our proficiency bonus is +3, and our AC is going up to 18 because the subclass we're taking, which is Hexblade, which gives us access to medium armor and shields. So we will be putting on a breastplate and shield, which gives us this, and that's an 18 armor class. And then our spell to hit is +6 and our DC is 14. We are getting an extra spell. So now we have 2 sorcerer slots and 2 warlock slots at 2nd level. We are taking Rhyme's Binding Ice because it does damage. It does a little bit control. And we are taking Darkness because we do have Devil's Sight. So that is very important to this build. We want to be able to surround things with darkness and then just blast them at will where they won't be able to see us. Okay, next level, 7th level. So we're done with Warlock. We're going back to Sorcerer. We're a 4th level Sorcerer now. We get a feat. We're taking Elemental Adept, which means if something has resistance to fire, because we're taking Elemental Adept Fire, they have resistance to fire. They don't have resistance to fire. Now, we can't do anything about immunity to fire, but we can do something about resistance to fire. That's just gone. We get a bump to our charisma, so now our charisma is an 18, and we've got four Font of Magic points. We're taking Minor Illusion because we get another cantrip, and we get another Sorcerer slot, so we're taking Hold Person. That's a really important spell. I do like that spell. I would rather concentrate on that than some of the other spells. But you know, like Hex. But that spell is not always going to be able to be used. At 8th level, we're taking another level of Sorcerer, so we're Sorcerer level 5. We're getting Sorceress Restoration and Font of Magic. So let's take a look at what is Sorceress Restoration. There it is right there. When you finish a short rest, you can regain expended sorcery points, but no more than a number equal to half your sorcerer level. Once you use this, you can't do it again. So we're going to be getting a whole bunch of sorcerers. So right now it's 5th. It's 5 points. We're 5th level, so we can get 2 back. And then we can convert warlock slots over to points as well. So eventually we're going to get a lot. But we're getting 3rd level spells at this point. So we're getting access to Aura of Vitality and Dispel Magic through Spellfire subclass. And then, of course, we're taking Fireball and Stinking Cloud, just in case we need to have a little bit of control. All right, at 9th level, we are taking another level of Sorcerer, and our proficiency bonus goes up to +4. There it is right there. We get Absorb Magic, which is a feature of the Spellfire Sorcery, which means we have Counterspell always prepared. So there it is right there, Counterspell. In addition to Aura of Vitality and Dispel Magic, we get another slot and another 3rd level slot and another spell, which is going to be Tidal Wave. We are not always going to keep that. We are up to +8 to hit and DC 16 for saving throws as a sorcerer for sorcery spells. Now, one thing I do want to point out way back here, when we took Quickened, that allows us to use any of these spells that takes 1 action as a bonus action. But we can't cast another spell as our action. But we can cast a cantrip, and that's another reason why I've got Eldritch Blast in here. Possibly Frostbite, but Eldritch Blast. So as a 3rd level Warlock, 6th level Sorcerer, 9th level, we're getting 3 Eldritch Blasts. Or is it 2? I think it's 2. At 11th level, we get 3. So, and remember, we've got Agonizing Blast, and we've got Repelling Blast, and we're a Hex Warrior. So any of these damaging spells, if we use our Hexblade's Curse, they are going to, you know, we're at probably at a +4 right now for our Charisma, so they're going to be doing an extra 4 damage. And with Eldritch Blast, it's going to be doing an extra 10 damage because it's going to be, it's going to be 8 damage because it's going to be our Charisma plus our Charisma for the Hexblade's Curse. So that's 8 plus a D10. So, and that's going to go up even more. All right. At 10th level, another level of Sorcerer. We're level 7. We get Sorcery Incarnate. So what does that mean, you ask? If you have no uses of innate sorcery left, you can use it to expend 2 sorcery points when you take a bonus action to activate it. In addition, while your innate sorcery is active, you can use up to 2 meta magic options. So we can use Heightened and Quickened at the same time, and pretty soon we're going to have more when we hit a Sorcerer 10. We go up to 7 points of Fountain of Magic, and we are adding 4th level spells. We are taking Spellfire Storm. And in addition, we get access to Fire Shield and Wall of Fire because we are a Spellfire Sorcerer, which are pretty good spells. At 11th level, we are taking Sorcerer 8. We are getting an ability score increase, which we're adding 2 to our Charisma, so that increases our Charisma to a 20, which changes our 2-hit to a +9 and our saves to a DC 17. We are getting another spell, so we're going to take Greater Invisibility because I like to be invisible while I'm doing all of these things. This character is not going to be up front. This character is going to be far away, blasting with all of these different spells. Now, they can do some support, like we've got the Cure Wounds, we've got the Lesser Restoration, we've got the Aura of Vitality, but for the most part, they are going to be blasting away. At 12th level, we will be a Sorcerer level 9. So our Font of Magic points go to 9. We get another 4th level slot. We get 5th level spells. And we are going to be taking Hold Monster and Immolation. We only have one slot at this point, but we do get access to Greater Restoration and Flame Strike. Flame Strike's not the greatest spell in the world, but it does do damage. Immolation is great, and of course Hold Monster is always great too because it will cause things to fail dex saves, which we like a lot. At 13th level, we are a Sorcerer 10. We're up to 10 points, and we get 2 new meta magics, which means we're going to take Careful and Transmuted. Now we have taken care of our problem with things that are immune to fire, because we can transmute a spell, and then we can heighten it, or we can transmute it and quicken it, whatever we want. Careful allows us to avoid our compadres, our other party members with our area of effect spells. And then we really don't get any new spells at this point. At 14th level, we're Sorcerer 11. We have 11 points. We get 6th level spells. And from here on out, there's very little that changes. It's like big changes before 14th level, and then and Sorcerer 10th and less. And at basically at 11th level, tier 3, there are things that change. They don't change as fast. So we are going to be taking Disintegrate. We do like that one. If we hold something, it is going to be failing its saving throw and taking a lot of damage. We really like that one a lot. At 15th level, we're going to be a Sorcerer 12. 12 points. We're taking Resilient for our feat, and we're adding 1 to Dex because I like to have advantage. I like to have extra Dex saving throw. It just gives us a little extra something, and we're trained in Dex saving throws too. That was the big thing, and the reason I took that. We're not really getting any new spells, but we are a plus 10 to hit and DC 18 for saving throws at this point. 16th level, we're going to be a 13th level sorcerer. We get 13 points, and we do get a 7th level spell. We are going to be taking Prismatic Spray. We do have the Careful spell, so we can just rip that out, Careful and Quickened, or we can do Careful and Heightened and pick one thing that is just going to fail its save because it's at disadvantage. Lots of options with that. And that'll get ripped out, and we don't have to worry about hitting our party members with that. At 17th level, we will be a Sorcerer 14. Our proficiency bonus goes up to plus 6 or plus 11 to hit with a DC 19 saves. Font of Magic points go up to 14, and we get Honed Spellfire, which is awesome. This is awesome. So what is that, do you ask? Honed. This is our 14th level feature that we get for the Spellfire Sorcery. Your Spellfire Burst improves. You add your Sorcerer level. What was our level? Our level was 14 to the temporary hit points. So now, if we use a sorcery point as part of a magic action, you or one creature you can see within 30 feet gains temporary hit points equal to 1d4 plus your charisma modifier. Okay, so that's going to be a d4, and at this point, that's a plus 5. So that's a d4 plus 5, and we add 14 to that. So it's a d4 plus 19, which is nasty. That is just nasty. Or we could choose to do extra damage. The Radiant stuff does an extra d4 fire or Radiant, and then this one does an extra d8. It's okay. The damage is not fantastic. It's the temporary hit points that are pretty, because you're going to be dishing out those temporary hit points. We're going to be swapping points out. We got 14 points right now. We have ability to get a bunch of points back. We can turn Warlock slots in for points every hour. You know, we can recover some up to 7. So we've got a lot of options here. So at 18th level, we're going to be a Sorcerer of 15. We're at 15 Font of Magic points. We get an 8th level spell. We're taking Incendiary Cloud. I like that one. I will say I would like to hold my concentration on that instead of something like Hex. Hex at this point is pretty worthless. And it basically does the same thing and more than Darkness. Now, we're not going to be able to see in it, but I don't really care. If something's in the cloud and then I hit the cloud with Prismatic Spray, oh well, so what? Everything's going to take damage. It does a ton of damage. It does a ton of damage every round. I can heighten it. I can careful it. I can change the damage type with transmute, so it's all good. All right, and at 19th level, we're a Sorcerer 16, so we're at 16 font points. I'm taking Warcaster. We're going to bump our int up. We get a bump. I just want the other features for Warcaster. And that's basically all we get at that. And finally, at 20th level, we're at 17 points. We get 2 more meta magics. We're taking Empowered, which means we can reroll some dice up to our Charisma modifier, which is a lot. And we're taking Twinned. We do have some targeted spells like Disintegrate. Twinned Disintegrate would be nasty. And Empowering actually doesn't count as a meta magic on it if we use it. So we can empower, twin, and heighten a Disintegrate, which is disgusting. That is nasty. And we have enough points we don't have to worry about it. But we are also getting a 9th level spell here, and we are taking Meteor Swarm. So that one we would want to careful, heighten, empowered, or quicken, careful, and empowered. Something like that. But all in all, this character, at the base to hit is plus 11 for Sorcerer, plus 9 for Warlock, and the DCs are 19 for Sorcerer. Now, I want to go over the end of this, because at the end, when we look at the points that I am going to have and the attributes and the 2 hits, it's based off of the one dimension that I have not added to this, and that is all of the magic items. So we're going to have a Bloodwell Vial plus 3, plus 2 Breastplate, Carpet of Flying, Manual of Bodily Health, Tomb of Leadership and Influence. So the Manual of Bodily Health is going to increase our con. The Tomb of Leadership and Influence is going to increase our Charisma beyond 20. Ring of Fire Resistance, just because I don't want to take my own stuff. Ring of Protection, great. Plus 1 to saves, plus 1 to armor class. Shadowfell Shard, which is a awesome magic item. So here it is right here. It's from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and it requires attunement by a sorcerer. That's great. So when you use a meta magic option on a spell, which we are going to pretty much be doing on every single spell while you're holding or wearing the shard, you can momentarily curse one creature targeted by a spell, choose one ability score, and until the end of your next turn, the creature has disadvantage on ability checks and saving throws that use that ability. So that kind of frees up our heightened so that we can use that without having to worry about using points on that. So, and then finally, we're going to have a plus 2 shield. Now, the character itself, again, looks like this. And we've got our actions, which are, our action is going to be used for a spell. Our bonus action is, depending on if we want to keep it or not, is probably going to be used for Eldritch Blast. So we are going to come in first round, and we are going to bonus action. Let's get all the way down here to Pact Magic. And we're going to bonus action Hexblade's Curse, which against the curse target, you gain a plus 6 because I got a 6, plus 6 for Charisma. To damage rolls, we score a critical hit on a 19 or 20, and we regain 9 hit points if it dies. So that's good for us. We can also have a ton of temporary hit points because of our Spellfire Sorcery. So, and that in itself is in our Honed. You add your Sorcerer level, so that's there. Because we're 17th level Sorcerer, and then it's a D4 plus 6 plus 17. So so we could have a ton of those. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to Hexblade's Curse. That will stay until they're gone, and then we will blast them with a spell. I like to come in and I like to pick the biggest, baddest spell that I've got. Just in, why not come in and go all the way out to a Meteor Swarm? Why not? There's a bunch of other ones too that we could be using. Spellfire Storm at this level is a con save of a DC 23. It does 90-10 damage. But Meteor Swarm does 20 d10 damage. That's pretty nasty. 20d6, I'm sorry, 20d6 and 20d6. That's pretty nasty. So why not use it? We can careful it. We can empower it. We can heighten it if we want one of the baddies to fail a saving throw, or we can quicken it if we just want to do it as an action or a bonus action or whatever, you know. So there you have it. That is the build. If you've got any questions or you've got any comments or any other suggestions for this build, just put them in the comments below and we'll get to them. I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and I will catch everybody later.